Hello, this is Ben Joyner. Robert's my first name, but I go by my middle name, which is Ben Joyner, J-O-I-N-E-R. But this is my prototype. You can see it looks a lot like a table saw. There's a rotary blade here, and I've got a table saw fence. It's just two boards screwed together. I can set that up to show you that this tool has table saw function, and the key, what this tool basically does is it does the function of a table saw and a miter saw. So let me set that up right quick for a table sawing. I'm just going to measure. Let's rip something at 2 inches. All right. Demonstrate this tool, what it does. And then we'll turn the little surge breaker on. I've got my switch here. So I didn't do a very good job making that cut, but at any rate you get the idea. That's what a table saw does. Now the point of this tool is that it combines a table saw and a miter saw into one tool. So you take this same fence that was a table saw fence, and you're going to change it around. First let me turn off the surge breaker. Let's move the fence out of the way for just a moment. Okay, so now this thing won't cut on. Alright. And I've got some nails here functioning as pins. Up comes one of them. Then you'll notice this thing slides forward. Up comes the other one. Okay. So I've got a sliding capability in here. There's a blade guard in here. It's like a little box. Kind of see simple track, and this blade will progress forward, and what this does is it makes cuts called cross cuts work better. So let me get a piece of wood to cross cut. Here's a 2x4. We'll cross cut this. When you have this one's fairly short, as you can see, it's like a 1.5 foot, but if you had an 8-foot one, making cross cuts would be difficult because you would have to progress it through the blade on the table saw. But on this tool, the blade slides. Now, this sliding of the blade capacity is not, I don't think I came up with it. I'll put in the email a previous patent I found that appears to do that, but this is what's unique about my tool. This thing is one big parallelogram, and you can see what it does. There's like some boat seat swivels right here, and the thing literally pivots like a parallelogram. Either way. That's why there's such big gaps in here. It's because they get smaller. See, they get smaller. Anyway, because of the way the parallelogram works, I can take the fence and we'll drop our little bolts in as pins. And I've got a pin in right there. And it's just real simple. Not real complicated. And okay, now let's have a look then, shall we? Look at there. The angle of the blade has changed. but the angle of the fence relative to the ground is not changed. So the point is that if you have like a 12-foot long 2x4 or a piece of molding or something, it doesn't have to pivot in the room. The tool pivots where it sits, and the fence stays where it was. So it works like, so the idea is that I'm replacing a chop style miter saw. So let's make us a miter cut. We'll just make it at whatever that looks like, about 90. I don't really have all the adjustments measured up on here. Alright, great. Now let's make that's a 90 degree. Like I eyeballed it pretty good. 90 degree. But anyway, let's miter it. Let's miter that thing. Alright, now this prototype is a little bit crude, if you hadn't been able to tell. I mean, that's a bed frame there for the pivot bar, and then we've got 5/8 inch plywood everywhere, 2x4s and stuff. It takes me a minute, but to kind of get the tool to, let me set the camera down right quick and get it to go to a full 45. There we go. Alright, there she is, pivoted all the way over. It's just a little sticky. And let's take the square, and let's see if we're at 45 or not. And as we can see, we're actually a little over 45 with those gaps. So the gaps could be a little smaller actually. And my fence isn't perfect either. So we'll just miter it right there, a little over 45. I've just been using these clamps. So just clamp them down somewhere. Keep it from moving around. And put one right here on the bed frame in that piece. You see I clamped it. Okay. Alright, I'm going to switch the surge protector back on. And let's miter a 2x4. Alright. Turn it on. There we go. So the idea is that this tool can do what a miter saw does, a chop style miter saw does, or it can do what a table saw does.